Welcome to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, brought to you by Pilma. This podcast helps lead lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Here is your legal marketing expert and host, Ken Hardison.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Ken Hardison, and welcome to another episode of Grow Your Law Firm. And today we have the honor and the privilege of having the guru on social media, Dennis Yu. Thank you, Dennis, for taking time to be
So
with
good
us.
to see you again, Ken.
You too, Bo. You too. So for those that have never heard of him, and I'll let you tell your whole story, but he's an early search engineer, and now he's got a best-selling book on Amazon about social media. He's a creator of the TikTok the definitive guide to TikTok advertising, and creator of the $1 a day strategy. And the thing I love about him, he's on a mission to help create over 1 million digital marketing jobs to foreign countries that need it, and underdeveloped countries, I guess, or is it just everywhere?
Everywhere,
Yeah,
including in all of our law firms, all the ladies that do marketing, let's upskill them.
I got you. So tell us about your background and what drove you to really get into all this marketing, especially social media, TikTok, all that stuff.
Oh man, Ken, I'm the furthest thing from a TikTok singing and dancing kind of guy. I think you and I are alike in that way. I'm old school. I built my first websites over 30 years ago, and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time to be there at Yahoo when they got started. And I learned about traffic and data. And we had 250 million users, if you can imagine, at Yahoo. They were doing searches. They had mail, so we had all their profile data. We saw what they were doing. We launched all these other properties: sports, finance, travel, shopping. And I learned so much about user behavior in terms of like what they would search on, like looking for a female who's 30 plus, and I live in San Jose or whatever it might be, and then what they actually did. And it was interesting because I could see that people would put on these different personas. And like a third of our search traffic was stuff that I can't tell you what it is, but it's also a third of Google search traffic. And you would see, it's like having access to the matrix. And so when Facebook came along and they opened up their APIs in 2007, I was one of the first people there. I left Yahoo back in 2005. I sold my shares and all that. A bunch of the people on my team went to go work for Google and built the analytics there, which I'm sad about, but whatever. But when Facebook launched, a lot of the same engineers who I worked with built the analytics over at Facebook. So they gave us early access to a lot of the tools. And I found that what I knew as a search engine engineer worked very much the same way on social media. The difference, Ken, is that it was based on stories and videos. And now that you have like Instagram and TikTok, it's still the same thing as it was 30 years ago, because we're all service providers. It's all based on relationships, who we know, sharing our knowledge, but it's through short selfie style videos. So nothing's really changed. And in that time period, we spent over $1 billion on social media ads. We've done it for some of the biggest companies. You can Google me and see who these companies are. But I've learned that it's not some secret. It's everything in digital marketing, social media is driven by a checklist, just like if you want to fix a car, just like if you want to pass the bar, like you can look it up. Just like if you want to be a surgeon, there is a clear process behind everything. And we just want to expose that so that there's a clear standard. So people that want to become a digital marketer, social media marketer, you introduced me as a guru, which kind of scares me. Because you know why these people call themselves gurus?
No.
Because they can't spell charlatan. So I want to turn the light on in a very dark room. This whole thing called social media, a lot of people are paying a lot of nonsense, a lot of money for influencers and whatever you want to call these things. And 99% of it's nonsense. So when we train people, law firms, for example, on how to take it in-house and get their attorneys and intakers and project managers and receptionists and clients to be able to tell little stories, short little stories, not professional actor, movie kind of, like just little cell phone kinds of stories, and then put that out there. So we record it separately and we put it out there on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat and LinkedIn and whatever, YouTube. It's the same thing. You're just telling stories at scale, and that's how you grow your law firm. You don't need to hire all these agencies. You don't need to use all this fancy software, although there's a lot of software that we like to use. And that's the main message we want to get out there. In order to get that done, we have to hire lots and lots of people. That's why we do all this training. That's why next week I'm going to Pakistan and I'm speaking in front of 30,000 people. All of these guys, they want to make $500 a month, which is life-changing income. That's $3 an hour.
Wow. Wow. So, some of this stuff is paid and then some of it's organic, I mean, what do you think you got to have a mix of it all, or do you think, you ought to go with organic? I've heard people say go with organic first and follow it up with paid. I've heard people say, let's go paid.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
what's your take on all this?
I'm a big fan of not fighting the system. I want to let the algorithm do the work for me. So if the algorithm is naturally determining on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok or whatever, what is interesting, what gets views, what drives leads, what drives comments, then whatever is working organically, I want to throw fuel on the fire. And then that's when I run ads. But I'm not running ads because I'm trying to become Jake Paul or get the 20 million followers or be Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm doing it because I want to drive cases for motor vehicle accidents in my city. So when I interview other people in my city and I talk about the favorite restaurant in my city and I show people that I like to go mountain biking or whatever it might be, I like to eat barbecue, and I show how I'm like as a person, and I find certain things that have nothing to do with being a personal injury attorney resonate, I can take those and I can put, this is the $1 a day strategy. I put $1 a day against it on Facebook or on Twitter or whatnot. And that drives more cases. That drives more people to the website. And we target them because we, when they come to the website, all these pixels fire on them. When the ads follow you around all over the place, that's what you want to do. You're building that connection in a lightweight sort of way, not, I'm Daryl Isaacs the Hammer and we fight hard for you to get you the compensation you deserve. Like, that's great. Do that for your billboards and your TV ads and stuff like that. But in social media, you want to show that you're a human. Don't wear the suit and have all the books behind you and that kind of thing. Show that you're a human, that you're relatable, especially if you're trying to attract clients that are under 30. They want to be able to relate to you. They want to see that you're on TikTok. They want to see what your kitchen looks like, right? Yeah. And a lot of lawyers are uncomfortable doing that. But if you do that, then you can run ads against it. And the beauty, like, I coach Ali Awad or Ethan Ostrov or Daryl Isaacs or these other people, tons of these personal injury attorneys. They are literally just recording little moments of their day, presenting a settlement check or hanging out at the Wynn to be able to go to a mastermind or like all these sorts of things, like, winning money on blackjack, like whatever it might be, just telling these stories. This is what causes people to choose you over some other personal injury attorney in Kansas City or whatever city it is. It's really that simple. People make it out to be this magical thing, but literally getting your personal brand out there in a way that's interesting and authentic, doesn't have to be all professional, is what drives growth for a law firm on social media.
And this goes back, and I want to get your opinion on it, but this is my take on it, and I could be totally wrong, but I've been preaching for 20 years that people hire lawyers they know, like, and trust. And it's like me, social media is a way for people to get to know you, like you, and trust you over a period of time. And that goes to what you're saying. You're not up there doing ads. You're creating relationships. And then the other thing is, I always say, is you got to be on top of mind awareness. Mm-hmm. And so you got to keep doing it so that they don't forget about you, because you could do a great job for a year and then quit it and think, well, I did what I need to do. But what is it, movie stars are forgotten very quickly if they're not in front of the people. I mean, they just are. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what's your take on that? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong?
You're absolutely right. So you hear a lot of people in traditional media talk about 7 touches, right? You've probably heard this a ton of times. 7 touches on TV, direct mail. You have to run. You hear people talk about frequency, and all that's true. I saw some research that I think it was either TikTok or Facebook put out a couple months ago. And now the new number, instead of 7, is 30. It takes 30 touches.
I went down.
So that they might, that just because you put out a story on Instagram or a reel, or you post something on Facebook, doesn't mean that that one post is going to drive all these leads for PI. But over time, and it might take 20 or 30 touches, because you don't know when that person's going to be in that motorcycle accident. You don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but then they're going to remember, like, oh, that Ken Hardison. I feel like I know Ken Hardison. I feel like I've seen Ken Hardison on YouTube. I feel like I know who he is. I feel like we share some of the same values. I've also eaten at that same restaurant I also feel the same way about it. Like, be careful about like political issues and things like that. But I feel the same way about my family or about, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's how they choose. They don't choose based on that you've had $2 billion of settlements or you had a $10 million, truck driving verdict. I mean, those are all great things. But like you said, this just blows my mind. Consumers, they choose based on who they like. I'll give you an example, because we work with lots of professional service providers. So one of my friends, Dr. David Ribbley, is one of the top cosmetic surgeons in the United States. He teaches at the colleges. He's got an impressive track record. You could look him up and see how many surgeries he's done, all that kind of stuff. Like, very fantastic if you do the research. And you know what drives people into his practice? It's the fact that he runs a campaign saying, if you come in, ladies will give you a free lip gloss, for a free consultation. And, doing plastic surgery like liposuction's actual real surgery. Not like there's a significant risk of dying, but it's real surgery, anesthesia, all this kind of stuff. And he was complaining to me or remarking to me the other day and said, I can't believe these women are putting their life in my hands, and they're doing it because they saw we're giving out a $1, like this lip gloss thing is $1. Like, at least do some research on who I am, at least see what certifications I have, at least look at our machinery, at least look more at our reviews and other stuff like that. But I think people like personal injury attorneys who are super smart and super eloquent, they maybe overestimate the sophistication of the consumer.
Well, I tell people when they're writing, like, and I don't know if you agree with this, but like your website copy and any kind of copy you're doing, if you do a book, needs to be about no more than 8, probably a 6th or 7th grade level, because the person, your ideal client, 90% of the time is going to be reading at that level. It's
Yeah,
not
New York
going to be
Times is at 8th grade level. Yeah, don't write above the 8th grade level.
Yeah, I mean, and so I mean, I always run my stuff through Hemingway app.
Hemingway's great. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some other ones, but I just do that was free, and then see what I need to do to get it, dumb it down a little bit, because lawyers tend to want to. We're taught to write for judges and other lawyers and stuff like that, and use a lot of. I call it. I used to run an ad that said, I said, all that legal mumbo jumbo, because that's what people think it is. They just want the plain facts. I mean, that's really what people want. They want to know that you're going to try, that you care, and you want to take care of them, and you're going to, and they can trust you. So like I said, it still comes back to know, like, and trust. It's just how you do it. I mean, I think social media has opened it up to where a lot of lawyers can do it a hell of a lot cheaper than having to spend millions of dollars branding themselves on TV.
Mm-hmm.
You still got to spend some money, but not like you used to. I mean, I think it's a great equalizer. I really do. I mean, here's something too. I do masterminds for lawyers. In fact, I think we got the largest mastermind program in the world right now, because we got close to over 100 members in 6 different groups, maybe 7. I can't remember. But I forgot what I was going to ask you. But they complain a lot that, listen, I see Ali Awad and I see some of these other guys that got millions of viewers and followers. He says, that's not me. I can't. And Ali is just very charismatic and very projects himself really good. He's just really good. I mean, he's just a natural. There's naturals, and then there's people like me that are not naturals. We have to work.
You and me.
But so what would you tell a lawyer like that? Because I've had lawyers just say, I just don't want to screw with it because I can't be Ali Awad. I say you don't have to be, but I don't know.
Look, we all have a different style, but the key is that people see who you are and they get a sense of what it's like in being able to work with you. So if I hire the Ken Hardison law firm, I want to get a sense of how I'm treated. I want to see what his staff is like. And just because you have someone like Ali Awad who's taking it to the nth degree and like he's all in on social media and he's using social media as his primary way to be able to generate leads, I get that. But you and I are alike, Ken, because I'm a search engine engineer. I didn't speak English until I was 7. And I'm not one of those. And I've learned how to be on camera from public speaking and this kind of thing, but I'm not a natural want to turn on the phone all the time. I'm a search engine engineer who prefers programming. I prefer writing words instead of putting my face on the camera. I don't want to turn the camera on all the time. So we're not all trying to become Gary Vaynerchuk. And in fact, I've done a bunch of testing with chiropractors, with personal injury attorneys, with real estate agents. And the ones that perform the best are actually not the ones that are the most charismatic. Because this sounds counterintuitive, but the ones that are most charismatic, they look like they're in a TV ad. They look like they're too good. If the lighting is too good, like if all the stuff is too good, it just screams commercial, right? I was hanging out with Perry Belcher. He's the co-founder of Digital Marketer a couple weeks ago at
I
his
know
house.
Perry. He's genius.
Perry's awesome.
He's genius
And,
marketer.
and he and I both realized that we had not eaten all day. So he opens up his fridge and pulls out some mini corn dogs from Costco, and he put them into this little oven and cooked them. And we were drinking wine, eating mini corn dogs. He had French fries. And I said to him, man, you eat like a 7-year-old. This is like what a 7-year-old would like to eat. And he laughed about it. He said, yeah, the only thing I'm missing is a cotton candy machine. I've always wanted to have a cotton candy machine in this new house, because he used to live in this ridiculous mansion, then had a divorce and this kind of thing. You know, that's what happens.
Yeah.
And so I thought, wow. And I took just a couple pictures of those moments because I just thought it was funny. Then when I left his house, I went to Amazon and I ordered a cotton candy machine and sent it to him. And it came to him the next day, because, you know, like Amazon Prime next day, like they deliver that thing like for free the next day. And he found it so amusing. He made a little video about that. And then I took that and I shared it all over the place. And that was unprofessional. It's Perry with like pink cotton candy all over his face while he's got the stick and he's making it in the cotton candy machine. And when you think about like the guy who co-founded Digital Marketer, which is like the place to learn about digital marketing, has got cotton candy all over his face while he and Dennis are eating mini corn dogs. That's about as far removed from like the professional, successful entrepreneur who has 11 different businesses that generate tons of income for him. So I think people want to see stuff like that. I'm not saying be silly, but I'm saying try to show the most authentic view. That's what works the best. And just literally, so don't be who you're not. And you hear all this stuff like be real and be authentic. You hear a lot of people say that on social media, and it's true, but it's not useful. What's useful is just be yourself and document moments of your life. So it could be small little moments like checking in at your favorite hotel. Like I'm here at the St. Regis and at Deer Valley, which is an awesome place, skiing and hiking and all that kind of stuff. I was first here 20 years ago with my friend who funded Costco and Best Buy. And he was telling me all about it. And, you know, and I came back here for another mastermind. And I'm always interviewing other people. Like, here's the best angle. For those of you guys who are not the extroverted, show my Lamborghini, whatever sort of thing, then just show gratitude. Like if you look at my phone, you'll see I'm constantly being grateful for friends of mine. I'm honoring them for their accomplishments, and doing that conveys, remember, it's about know, like, and trust, like you said, Daryl. When you, like the secret hack, when you honor other people in your life, you know, your wife for being married for X number of years, people get a sense of your values and your vibe and who you are. And if you capture that in a selfie video, even like a 15-second video, which is really all you need to do, capture that little moment and you put it out. And this sounds ridiculous, but when you turn it into an ad, then other attorneys or professional service folks are saying, why are you spending money on that? That doesn't drive cases directly. I'm like, yes, it does. My friend Justin Martin's the #1 real estate agent in Colorado. He sold 500 homes last year. And he hired up a team of 70-something agents, and he trains up these agents using our $1 a day, 1-minute video strategy. And what does he do? So he's hanging out at the lake where he has his house, and he's got a speedboat, and he takes his kids out water skiing and doing other stuff, you know, cooking marshmallows on the fire or whatever. And he's just talking about gratitude and talking about family and things like that. And that's what's driving leads for him, with people that want to buy and sell homes. And he's taught all the agents in his company how to do that. That works for real estate agents. It works for attorneys. It works for chiropractors. For some reason, people have this idea that they don't want to show parts of their life. It doesn't mean you show every part of your personal life. But if you put that out there and through those stories and through the gratitude, you run ads against it, people get a sense of who you are. Of course, you geo-target the ad just for your city. That's what drives the connections. It's that simple.
So the $1 a day, can you kind of explain that? I mean, I don't, you ain't got to get into the weeds, but is that just for Facebook, or is that for everything? Or
it's for every single channel. Well, mainly every single social network. And I'll consider YouTube a social network, even though it's kind of like a search engine because it's part of Google. $1 a day is when you're testing lots of different pieces of content. So let's say, Ken, you and I, we make a series of little videos like we're eating steak and you'd like to have your steak rare and I like to have mine medium rare, or like whatever it could be, right? Just lots of different stories. If we put $1 a day against each of them for 7 days, so that's $7 per piece of content. At the end of the week, the system's going to come back and tell us, whether it's on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube or TikTok or what, doesn't matter. The system's going to come back and tell us which performed the best. You and I are not going to know what the winner is. Like, I think like I'm pretty good at social media. I've done a lot of advertising the last 30 years, but I don't know. And I've learned I don't know. But the system's going to come back and tell us what resonated. And in hindsight, we'll say, oh, well, it's because we had that pretty lady and she said something. It's because we were walking and talking. It's because it was on this particular theme. It's because who knows why it is. But when you find that winner, that tells you what other content you should make more of. That tells you what your audience thinks of you. That tells you where you can put more ad money. When you have a winner and you put $1 a day against, or $10 a day, once you found it's a winner, that can run forever. I have ads from 10 years ago that are still running that generate income and leads for us. For my friend I'm going mountain biking with later this afternoon, he runs the United States Concealed Carry Association. So regardless of what your opinion is on guns, using this $1 a day strategy through testing, he scaled his business from 6 million to almost $70 million in membership sales of people who are buying insurance because they have guns and their regular homeowners policy doesn't cover all this. And we do this with lots of testing. Like, this is what my daily carry is. This is what happens if the police stop you. This is what happens if an intruder comes into your house. Do you have the right to shoot them? This is why you shouldn't shoot a warning shot. And if you're going to shoot, you should shoot. This is why, this is the difference between this gun and that gun. So making lots of little videos, like sharing how to do stuff. And we test it, and invariably we'll find one that works the best. And $1 a day is just a testing strategy. The reason why it works especially well on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok is because the same algorithm that powers the news feed, which is what shows up in any of the feeds, is the same algorithm that determines what wins on the $1 a day strategy, except now you've aligned your interest with the social network. Because if you're trying to get there on organic only, good luck. Maybe you're lucky, maybe you're really good at singing, but I'm not. I can't sing, I can't dance. So I put out content where I'm sharing expertise or I'm sharing a story. And the one that performs the best, instead of just putting all the money on a Super Bowl ad and just like putting it on black and hoping that wins, I can de-risk everything and find that winner. Go ahead.
You make a great point, and it's not just on social media, but everything. I've always tell lawyers, sometimes what this lawyer in California is doing might not work in South Carolina, but you can test it. Whether it be social media, direct mail, whatever. TV, radio. I don't know if you know the guy, Alex Mandossian, really real smart guy. He used to tell us, I've heard him speaking, he'd say, first thing I go in the office, he ran an agency, he did a lot of what kind of what you're doing with lawyers and chiropractors and whatever. He said, what did we split test today? He was always split testing everything and seeing, he's always trying to make the ads better, and always trying to outperform, change one thing, right? Might be the call to action. It might be the color. It might be the size of the block. It might be the headline.
Yeah.
It could be anything, but he'd always trying to beat last month's or whatever, however many he did. I don't know how he did it because he never shared that with me. But
I want to hear something super smart?
Yeah, always.
So I was at Traffic and Conversion Summit last week, and I happened to run into the video editor for Alex Hermosi. He also does the video editing for Grant Cardone. And those are the two top entrepreneurs on social media right now. And you can see they produce tons of videos. And this is what he told me he does, which was, I knew most of it, but a couple things here I want to tell you that made me go, One is that they film everything on cell phones, and they film in 1080p, not in 4K. And the other thing is they film in 3 components. Now, I knew about these 3 components before because that's what we've been doing for years. Anytime you have a short form video, like 30 seconds, 1 minute, that you film vertically on your cell phone, that beginning piece is the hook to capture their attention. That's the most important part by far, because if that hook, that first 2 seconds doesn't hit, it doesn't matter what you have to say in the middle, which is the body, or the end, which is the call to action, which is call me, I'll help you with your case or whatever it might be. But there's the 3 parts. There's the hook in the beginning, there's the body in the middle, there's the call to action, contact me, here's my phone number, 88888, whatever it is, right? Good on that so far, these 3 parts, right? But here's what he does. people like Alex and Grant are so good on video, they only need one take to be able to teach that one thing. And all you guys that are personal injury attorneys, you know how to speak on any particular topic, right? That's great. That's the body. But what they'll do is once they record that initial video, they'll record 5 different hooks and they'll put that at the beginning of that video. And maybe they'll have 2 or 3 different calls to action. So now we've got 10, 15 different combinations of video. And then he went to Alex Hormozzi's TikTok and showed me this. He will literally take all those combinations where it's the main body, but then 5 different hooks and combinations of like 2 or 3 calls to action. He'll post them all at once, every single one of them. So that's 15 posts all at once. And I said, but aren't you worried about like overwhelming the algorithm or like wearing people out? They'll say like, why did you just post 15 of the same thing? He says it doesn't matter because the system's going to find a winner and the ones that suck never get any reach anyway. And he showed me something that they just posted a couple hours ago, and he went in and we saw like a whole bunch of them all posted just a few seconds apart. And one of them got like 10,000 views, one got 20,000 views, and another one got 500,000 views. And I said, wow, why did that one, that particular version, get 500,000 views? And it's like, well, it's something about the hook. Like you said, it was about, it could be that there is, he could be saying the exact same thing, but that first one, there's a micro delay because he took a breath, or because there was a rotation in the video which caught people's attention, or just like one, or because of the background music that we used. But literally that one little thing is the difference between 10,000 views and 500,000 views. Isn't it neat?
Wow.
Like that's what he's doing. And so that's gotten me to think, well, you know, I can put more stuff out there that doesn't have to be quite as professional. And I can post 20 things at once at the same time without being worried. Because that's what people say, Ken, is they say, oh, well, you know, if you post 20 things at once, aren't you going to overwhelm people, or they're going to see too much of you? Like, no, the algorithm is very smart and controls everything. And the winner, they put ads on, they turn into ads.
I hope our viewers and listeners understand how much value you just gave right then. That is big. I mean, you got my head spinning. I mean, I done got some ideas before we.
Because they say, oh, you should only post once per day. Nonsense. Post as much as you want.
Yeah.
And if you don't have anything to post, don't post anything. Oh, I got to post something today. Well, if you don't have anything to say, don't say it. Because the algorithm's going to find the thing that wins. If you were just an event, you had 3 amazing epiphanies, tell those as 3 separate stories. And then find out which of them resonated. You know, swallow your pride and let the system tell you what won.
Yeah, because you know, I've always said things. I've started business. You know, I'm an entrepreneur, and I think I come up with this great business, and I'm thinking, you know, these lawyers, they need this. You know, this is a great thing, and they just don't want it. You know, or then I'll just something. Somebody come to me with something. I say, well, you know, and they just eat it like popcorn. I mean, it's like the best thing since sliced bread. So you don't know. You know, it is with everything. You don't know, because when I used to do TV ads, I'd show them to people, just regular people. But some of my lawyers would look at them, and if my lawyers liked them, I'd throw them away. And they'd say, why are you doing this? I said, because you're not my ideal client.
Yeah, it's not what the lawyer likes, it's what the consumer likes. It's what works.
That's right. That's right. I said, if you like it, then, you know, but it, you know, so I think it goes.
You know, Lane Bryant, have you heard of Lane Bryant, Ken?
Yes. Yes.
They're the
Big
plus
women
size
clothes.
women's clothing brand.
Yeah.
My buddy Jay is their CMO, and he hired us to tune their digital marketing for a few years. Now, I'm not a plus size woman, so I don't understand why certain women shop at Lane Bryant versus at Victoria's Secret or Target or wherever, in Nordstrom. And so what I did was I went to a bunch of Lane Bryant stores and I asked them, these women, hey, I hope you don't mind me asking, like, why do you buy bras from Lane Bryant versus somewhere else? And I thought I'd be seen as like a creepy person, but this is how far I go to, like, it's not what Dennis thinks. Like, I want to see what they have to say. And these women, largely, they were like larger Black females who are like, they want to, you know, tell you how they think about stuff. And they'd say, I would love to tell you. In fact, it's because I use Lane Bryant bras because they don't fall apart. Like, because I'm a heavy set woman and whatever it was. And they'd love to tell you. And so we took these stories of what these other women would say, and we used that to transform the marketing. And I'm a dude. I'm not a plus size woman. We got Queen Latifah as a spokesperson, which was amazing. And I'll tell you one thing, I'll probably get in trouble for this. I might get canceled today for doing this, but we were doing a campaign for Domino's Pizza on Facebook, and I made a post as Domino's, and I said, click like if you're our biggest fan. And I think within an hour, I had like 50,000 people click like on it. I'm like, wow, that's awesome, right? And I think it was like a Friday afternoon. I was just kind of hanging out. I was, you know, whatever, after a long day. I just made that post just for fun because I'm friends with the head of Digital Dominoes. And then I went to Lane Bryant's Facebook page and I did the same thing. I said, click like if you're our biggest fan on the Lane Bryant page. And I got 50,000 likes, right? But then I looked at the comments and some of these women were like, you know, how dare you say like who the biggest fan is? You know, I'm like, oh, shoot, you know.
Yeah.
But it actually worked. We got a lot more fans. And, you know, Lane Bryant also ran a Super Bowl commercial with the plus size woman, Ashley, who's their main spokesperson. But it just like technically it was a mistake on my part for doing that, but everyone laughed it off. The CMO and the other people in digital thought it was kind of funny, even though it was a mistake. It's like, you know, new Coke, they made the mistake, but it actually helped reinforce the original Coke.
So tell me about your company, Blitz Metrics. And of course, you know, Pilma, we've hired you and I've been pleased, but tell our listeners out there what you do for people, businesses.
We are a data-driven digital marketing company. We believe everything that you do, you must have a course against. Otherwise, it's not repeatable. Otherwise, it's not based on a standard. So everything that you do, and we coach a bunch of agencies too, and we take on a few clients here and there, but everything we do has to be backed by a clear standard. I'm just adamant about that because I believe that anything that anyone knows how to do is repeatable if we put a checklist against it. So we publish tons of courses. So a lot of professional services are our clients. So dentists, doctors, lawyers, right? People who sell based on their reputation, know, like, and trust, not like Amazon e-commerce products. So we put all these courses out here on personal branding, on Facebook ads, on dollar a day, on hiring VAs. And most of it, these courses are like $20 or $100, but you can use that for your own team. You can learn how to do it yourself. Even if you're a busy personal injury attorney and you're focusing on the business and you don't understand the social media thing, because that's for teenagers, I still think it's important to know that, to understand the strategy behind it, so then you can hire people. Because I believe everyone should hire people in-house to do this. You can have an agency set stuff up. You can hire an agency to do a particular project, but ongoing functions, we very much believe that it should be done by in-house people. But most law firms, they have their ladies, you know, just like you came in with your initial ladies and we taught them and trained them. And we did a lot of the work initially to then, you know, teach your folks how to do it. But it's all driven by the data. So I think maybe, Ken, if you've seen the latest reports from you, your traffic is up 30%. You're ranking on more keywords, your leads are going up. All these things are data driven. And we're repurposing your podcasts, repurposing all the guests that you have that initially you put it out there on YouTube and some people saw it, but then it wasn't an article. Then you weren't linking between related articles. Just a lot of super basic stuff, not hard to do, just needs to be done by someone, ideally $3 an hour, who can competently do it, who's been trained in how to do this. So we have an army of people in the Philippines and in Pakistan and Kosovo. Technically, these are third world countries, but they like to think of themselves as emerging countries, and all of them, you know, on their way up. And we're changing people's lives by starting them out at $1 an hour, which is nothing, to $2 an hour, $3 an hour. And some folks are making $12 an hour because they've advanced all the way up. And so our company's mission is to create 1 million jobs. We're a quarter of the way there, largely because of our work in the Philippines with onlinejobs.ph. And we have a long way to go. Next week, flying out to Pakistan, training at the different universities, speaking at the largest conference out there. And it's kind of weird because I have a lot of American friends like you, but I have some friends in the Philippines. Some of these folks, they are leaders in the country. I've met the president of Kosovo and the president of Pakistan, these other folks, and they embrace what we're doing. We want these folks, there's like 2 million on onlinejobs.ph. There's 2 million Filipinos registered on that site going through our training to learn how to take video like this Zoom call that can be repurposed into little snippets of content and just, you know, a little highlight that something you said, we can turn that into a tweet, right? How likely, Ken, is someone going to listen to our entire conversation versus we pull out little snippets as like movie trailers, put that on TikTok or Facebook or whatnot. And then if people like that, they can tune in and listen to the rest of the episode. So our whole mission is being able to elevate the authority of professional service providers. We're not trying to make new content. We're not trying to put words in their mouth. We're trying to take what you've already said that maybe was from years ago, but that YouTube video I was looking at this personal injury attorney's name is Judd. and he interviewed Daryl Isaacs, and that video had 51 views. It was a great video, but no one's ever going to see that video again, because in the world of the internet, a few days later, it's long gone. But that could be turned into an article. That could be posted to a blog. That could be highlights could be put on Facebook or Twitter, Instagram or whatnot, so that we can get more value out of those assets. I feel like law firms, I know I'm preaching here, but law firms are still, maybe it's because their agencies are telling them that they just need to keep creating new content. I don't believe in doing that. I'd say take all the content you have and get the ROI out of that before making this new content. It's not like you have to make a new Christmas campaign or a new Halloween campaign every single, you're not a retailer, you're a professional service provider. Is there really any difference with a car accident today versus a car accident 5 years ago? Probably not. It's the same thing. Why not tell the same stories? Just like you have kids, the kids want to watch Finding Nemo for 38 times. Tell your best stories over and over again. Use $1 a day to get it out there. Repurpose it by cutting it up into different pieces. We have a whole thing called the Content Factory that we have training where the VAs take your content and chop it up into different pieces.
Yeah.
We exist to reduce that inefficiency instead of all this crazy amount of waste that we see happening.
Yeah, that guy, I can't remember that guy's name, the guy that owns that online job.
John Jonas.
.ph. He's got his own
Yeah.
podcast too. I've listened to it. Something like the secret sauce or something.
Yeah, he has this new program called One VA Away. And he came up with this idea because he and Russell created ClickFunnels. And Russell said, because Russell has that you're just one funnel away. So Russell told John, you should create a program called You're Just One VA Away. And so John did. He put that program in place. And John and I are working together to help everyone hire their first VA. And it doesn't mean that you're not American and you're not patriotic because you're hiring people from other countries. That helps you hire more people in the US. Our ratio is 3, maybe 3 to 4. Like every 3 VAs you hire, you can hire another American to manage them and have higher level strategic sort of thinking, while the lower level work's done by the VAs. Yeah. And so John and I have made a whole bunch of videos. I was at his house recently. It's not too far from here. He lives in a huge house, but he told me not to post pictures of it because it's a VA who's making $300 a month is probably not going to feel too good when you see a house that's as big as his house. It looks like a hotel. It's so big. But we made some videos, and just jokingly, I had him say that my friend Dennis Yu here is the world's highest paid VA. And so we laughed about that. And I am, right? I'm probably the best known VA in the world.
There you go. There you go. So if people want to get up with you, how's the best way to contact you or your company, Blitz Metrics?
Google me, Dennis Yu. I'm on every single channel. Reach out to me. My email is dennis@blitzmetrics.com. I personally answer email. It might take me a day or two, but I always answer.
All right, my friend. Listen, I appreciate it. This has been, I know you're busy. You got to go do your deal with your mastermind, but I appreciate you taking time for.
Thank you, Ken.
Great information, brother. I love it. Thank you. Until next time, this is Ken Hardison, dedicated to your success.
You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.